Since the casting announcement, there really hasn't been a whole lot of information coming out regarding Avengers Doomsday. There's been a little bit, but for the most part, things are pretty much locked down. And I think a lot of that has to deal with the fact that the script still isn't completed. Despite that, they're filming the movie and it's set to come out next year after already previously being delayed. Now, I think releasing it at the end of next year is still a little bit optimistic, and I expect that there's going to be another delay at some point, but that's another thing entirely. Because we don't have a whole lot of information about this movie thus far, it's leaving people left to speculate, and there's a lot of rumors swirling around regarding the movie, and one of those is that Simu Liu was upset because he's going to have his character killed off in Avengers Doomsday. But before we really dive into this, if you're new to the channel here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you can, leave a comment and hit the like button too, because it really helps me out. Simu Liu looks miserable on Avengers Doomsday set. Is Shang-Chi getting killed off? Now, there's a lot of leaps in here, but because rumors are all we have to go by for Avengers Doomsday, I think it's kind of interesting at least to address them and just kind of speculate on what they could mean or whether or not I think there's some validity to them. Simu Liu shared a photo on his Instagram story from the set of Avengers Doomsday, and it can't help but be noticed that the actor doesn't look happy at all. The timing of the post has fueled speculation about his future in the MCU, especially considering his recent reactions to the Superman sequel and those rumors surrounding Avengers Doomsday. And what they're talking about with the latest reaction is this post after James Gunn shared this image of his next Superman movie, because that got greenlit pretty much right away. Some person responded, I generally don't remember the last time a superhero movie had a sequel turn around this fast, to which Simu Liu just responded with kind of the blank stare, just kind of insinuating, it's like, yeah, why don't I have a sequel or anything like that? Because there was supposed to be more Shang-Chi movies, but because of the performance of the first one, that's not happening, and he's kind of upset about this, saying that this photo that he shared from the set suggests that he looks miserable. There's 1,000 reasons why he would look this way on a film set. I mean, maybe it's just after a very long day's shoot, so he's tired, or maybe he just had to show up early to set, so he's also tired. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that you can gather why he would look this way. Besides that, this is the last movie that he's going to be working with for Marvel, even though that's still, I think, a little bit reasonable. There's a lot of leaps in logic that you have to make, or not necessarily leaps in logic, but there's a lot of leaps that you have to make to come to that conclusion. But one thing I kind of can't help but notice is this is literally the exact same expression that he had when he tweeted that about James Gunn's Superman. No Shang-Chi 2, but Superman gets a sequel. The reaction comes only weeks after Liu deadpan response to the announcement of the James Gunn Superman Man of Tomorrow, a sequel set for release in 2027 after the first movie earned $615 million worldwide. Liu pointed out the irony that Superman quickly got a sequel while Shang-Chi 2 hasn't been announced, even though the 2021 film grossed just over $432 million globally. Now, that might sound good, but I believe the budget for that movie was around $200 million. It might have been a little bit less, but when you factor in the marketing costs and everything like that, it still fell below what they actually needed to make in order to turn a profit. And I think that's a large reason why the sequel has not happened yet, because if the movie turned out to be a hit and made a lot of money, then of course they would have greenlit a sequel to it, because, well, the MCU really hasn't been producing a lot of hits lately. So if Marvel had one that they thought could actually turn a profit for them, I'm pretty much sure that they would have continued on with that. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of the movies, Shang-Chi included, since Endgame, really haven't been doing too well with audiences. So this last couple phases of the MCU just kind of comes across as Marvel throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, while still trying to continue on with their shared universe and everything like that, which is why they're bringing them back for Avengers Doomsday. But I don't think, I think there is I think it's at least reasonable to think that they're going to get rid of him entirely. They just can't ignore him like they can with the Eternals. So they're thinking like, okay, we'll bring him in and do some type of a send-off for his character, as well as a lot of the other characters post Endgame that really haven't resonated with audiences. Adding to the speculation are the recent reports that Avengers Doomsday will reset the post-Endgame MCU entirely, effectively erasing characters introduced since 2019. And I did a video about that a couple days ago, and I don't think it's necessarily going to reset everything post-Endgame, because there has been some stuff since Avengers Endgame that did do pretty well and are also kind of setting the tone for what they're going to be doing later on. Deadpool and Wolverine, for instance, that was bringing in the Fox universe, and while they might not necessarily be using the old Fox universe, they're still going to be kind of taking up that and running with it a little bit. Fantastic Four, they're supposed to have a little bit more of a future, even though the movie didn't do too well. And then you also have to consider Spider-Man. I can't see them getting rid of Spider-Man. I mean, that's also not necessarily Marvel's own ownership. Sony also owns Spider-Man 2, but I don't see them getting rid of things like that. Plus there's other characters that have come out since there's other characters it's had movies since Avengers Endgame that were also from the early years of the MCU, like Captain America or Falcon, as well as Thor. So I don't think they're going to necessarily retcon entirely everything post Endgame out of existence, but I think they're going to use the different universes and multiverses as a way to kind of shake things up a little bit, so that they can get rid of some of the stuff that they don't think is really effective and hasn't worked out for them, while keeping the stuff that they think is worth salvaging. And since Endgame, there hasn't been a whole lot worth salvaging. I think they're still going to keep some of that stuff around. This could mean Shang-Chi's run is nearing its end, making Liu's somber photo feel like more than a coincidence. It would mean Shang-Chi is erased from the MCU. We can add that perhaps Simu Liu received word that Shang-Chi 2 isn't happening. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation there, but like I said, there is some merit to this, and there's some reasons to believe this is the case. About resetting the entire MCU, that's even something Kevin Feige himself has said is kind of on the horizon. That's going to be after Secret Wars, where they're going to not necessarily erase a lot of the stuff or declare it non-canon or anything like that. What Kevin Feige basically said is they're going to continue on, but they're going to be willing to recast characters like Iron Man or Captain America, because they understand Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans aren't going to be able to do this indefinitely, and then trying to play the long game. So they're like, okay, if we want to continue on with this for as long as we want, then we have to be willing to recast characters. I don't think it's necessarily like characters from like a different multiverse or anything like that, although that's probably an approach they're going to take with it. They're just going to do what Marvel has done in the past and just recast characters, while also get rid of some of the stuff that they don't want, because that's one of the problems for Marvel movies of recent years, is it's just grown so big that a lot of people feel like, well, I mean, no point in getting invested because I didn't watch like the last couple things. So this could be Marvel basically saying like, okay, you don't need to watch all that stuff, because all this other stuff that really didn't work out, we're basically just kind of casting it aside and getting rid of that, so you can just focus on these other things, just kind of shrink it down and make it easier to grasp and make it more accessible to new audiences. This is something that they've tried to do recently. Fantastic Four, I'll even give it, in my review for Fantastic Four, I gave it praise for that, and that it didn't feel like it was something that you needed to watch a whole lot of stuff in order to understand. It was very much an isolated movie that stood on its own, and I think they're going to try to shift more to doing that kind of stuff. And while they could have their occasional crossovers, they're not going to basically just make it where every movie only serves to set up the next movie and you're not even going to care about it, because we saw that approach post Endgame and it really hasn't worked out for them. But let me know what you think about these rumors in the comment section below. Do you think he's upset that this is going to be his last movie or in the MCU? Do you think this is actually reasonable to conclude that he's going to be done with the MCU after this? Or do you think this is nothing and then they're actually going to have a Shang-Chi 2 at some point? We just don't know when, and Marvel just hasn't made the official announcement yet. Comment below, and also if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And if you can, hit that like button and share the video out there, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.